And hello and welcome back. This is round 5 of the 2025 PeaceBridge Memorial Tournament here in Niagara Falls, Canada. I have actually a very special co-host with me today at this very pivotal round 5. This is often where in a tournament you are fighting for your life. This game probably means you're either going to continue on or get knocked out. Today I have Zack with me. Zack was an intricate part to actually get these videos up, and from the bottom of the OverPower Mountain podcast heart, we do want to thank you very much for it. Glad to have you here, Zack.
Thank you, Marcel. Glad to be here, and congratulations on your victory of PeaceBridge.
Well, that's one way to spoil how this tournament's going to be at the end of the day, so act like you never heard that one, folks, as we continue on with this tournament round 5. So, of course, in this round, 2 players, one coming from back out of retirement, Garion Sutton, and of course, Justin Sadie, the hot young phenom on the circuit right now. Garion, of course, running that +6 to venture deck. You did see earlier in an earlier round of Blue Beetle, Invisible Woman, Morlocks, and Longshot. Of course, with AOA as the battle site, Event Horizon as the home base, and AOA as the event set. Justin switching it up in this tournament with Sherlock Holmes from the ERB set, Zorro from the ERB set, Dark Beast, and Deathbird in reserve. Of course, using Outback as his battle site, Spartan Training Ground as the home base, and Fatal Attractions as the event set. Looking for that big no energy icons may be used to attack. So both of these players having pretty decent records right now. I believe both of them are sitting at only 1 loss on the day so far. And both of them thinking that they're going to make it through to the playoffs as long as they win this match. Now, you did get to actually play against Garion earlier in the tournament. Did you think there's anything that you could have done differently? Or what was his deck all about to you?
Honestly, he had +6 every hand against me, and I was playing Dracula, X-Babies, and Beast, where I can't really generate that much venture. So catching up from 6 every hand was a climb for me, for sure, and it didn't turn out my favor.
I can imagine. That's just daunting, especially in the first couple of rounds. The average chord probably being worth anywhere between, let's just say 3 to 6. That could potentially be almost like a 2-card advantage in early rounds, especially if any sort of discarding does occur.
And yes, I definitely duped hard that game too.
Well, here's the roll of the dice. Of course, that's the new trait that's happening to see who will actually go first or second. Of course, if you go second, you do get to replace a duplicate due to the new mulligan rule. So both decks getting placed out here, as we mentioned. Garion featuring the Morlocks and all the plus characters around it, and Justin seeming to hone in on Zorro as one of his new favorite characters moving forward. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting match. I don't think no energy icon is overly going to affect Garion, but I could see how in the right pivotal match or pivotal battle, it could actually transition the game.
Yeah, I could get some T-marks and the Blue Beetle 3 energy also, so.
And of course, Morlocks featuring that 6 energy trying to bounce off Invisible Woman might actually fall a power card or 2 in there as well. Garion, of course, playing the Event Horizon, so that letting him draw for any duplicate of a event card. Now, in the first round, if he is going second and he gets 2 events, he is allowed to double dip or double draw for that additional event, giving him 9 cards. Let's see how this first hand starts to play out. Often going to be a big placing war chest kind of moment. Counting up their cards. Justin looking quite relaxed, smiling. Maybe not actually understanding truly who Garion and his reputation is. Might actually be a benefit for a lot of players not actually knowing Garion, his play style, and his historic winning records. So it looks like an event has been placed on the table. There will be an event this round. played by Garion. Is the only event he has.
Is that to save the world, I believe?
It is.
If any character draws, the opponent draws. Any character discards, the opponent discards also.
You draw, I draw, you discard, I discard. Absolutely. Good one to have. Now, not overly affecting cards on either person's team that really hits this too hard. And it looks like we have a Holocaust as a duplicate on Garion's side. So it looks like in the first round, he will be down a card.
So I believe Garion's going first then, right? Yes.
Looks like he did have the initiative, so he was not able to do the double dip. Both placing a teamwork. Getting some early pressure on the board. As you can see, even though this is such a crazy, tight, pivotal match that's about to occur, both these gentlemen looking quite relaxed and about to enjoy what's going to occur. Wow, Justin coming out with 3 teamworks placed right off the initial bat. Garion trying to keep up with some heat of his own. Of course, 1 to 9, 8, and a remove. So holding quite strong.
And the 8 any power also. So he's not even affected by that or any events or anything like that. So,
and of course, being able to play that teamwork being most important. Zoro 5 being placed down. Power card on Garion's side. They're trying to hold each other accountable here. They're trying to keep even on the placing. You can see Justin trying to show that he does have fuel for those teamworks, not letting Garion think one of them is a discard.
I believe that is a 7 or no. What's Captain Nemo? 6 intellect on Invisible Woman?
Really nice Captain Nemo 6 intellect there on Invisible Woman. We were just trying to figure out what card it is, as you know, the new ERB is slowly starting to creep into the legacy format as Modern is just starting to get played. And of course, Justin there showing all 3 teamworks have fuel in the first round. Of course, not going to have much defense, but looking across the board, only realizing that, oh no, he does have to worry, because I believe that is a 6/6/8 that could come across the board at him at any of his characters. So hopefully he is holding a defensive card, although he does have the Zoro 5.
Yes.
And with his training ground, that activates as a 9. So he does have that one defensive card to take care of a meaty part of that teamwork. So they're both trying to place out. Looks like 6 places to 6 places. So they're even on the placing advantage going in. And here we go. Garion's trying to decide what his venture will be moving into the first round here. Showing event horizon. Now, of course, what Justin's trying to figure out is, would I have got to draw based off your event? And of course, it is in the event phase early on. So the event he actually draws before that event activates. Thus, Justin would not actually get to draw.
Correct.
Taking a cool sip of water, looking at the camera. Getting ready to start the round.
Is there a rules question happening? Justin got up.
So I think what's about to occur is they are asking the question that we just answered in a blip of a moment. And I think Justin wants to know if he gets to draw a card for the event to save the world, because Garion got to redraw for his event from Event Horizon. But again, events will take place first. His home base will then kick in.
Event Horizon caught everybody off guard, I think, this tournament.
Yeah, Event Horizon, as simple as it seems to read, sadly actually had several different variations of its wording until its final rendition, which is now in the ERB set. So a bunch of questions in terms of when the actual draw phase for it has come into play. The way we mentioned it to you is the way it shall be played. But of course, this is a great moment to always show you, and it's what I always tell you at home. If you're unsure, you ask the question. If you're unsure, you get a judge. Because as you can see, a moment like this could actually be the make or break of your game. Now, often in situations like this, especially when you're on the feature table and a big time gets called along these lines, what happens in this scenario is you will actually get time added onto your game as this judge call is being made. So you may see that time clicking away on the top in the top hand corner, but of course everything is being accounted for, and of course they will get this extended time should their game go into it. Now, Zach, did you actually bring up Event Horizon? What does Event Horizon actually state, the latest version of it?
So the latest version states, sorry, I just had it. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So again, as we're sort of sitting here, you can see they're trying to get it. When you're at a tournament like this, the scenario often plays is that there's 2 or 3 judges. They confer on the decision, and then they decide, of course, 2 out of 3, always giving you the advantage in terms of a ruling. So what was that Event Horizon there, Zach?
So Event Horizon states, during each event phase, draw a replacement card for each event in hand, instead of only 1 event card. Once you have replaced all event cards, choose 1 event card that will take effect that battle. All other event cards are discarded as normal.
So I think the key there that will get ruled on in this particular area is during event phase. So now this is during the event phase, meaning that event has not activated yet. So events activate at the end of the event phase. So at this particular time, he is getting to replace and draw that card. Then that event comes into play.
Yeah, it's mainly for the battle then, correct?
Of course, you know, Garion playing a very unique strategy of both the ability to place Purity of Thought on long shot, as well as having the Morlock's Leech have the ability to discard cards yourself in an advantage, and then of course using the very tricky move of Power Mimic on that Purity of Thought and Reserve to activate it potentially twice even in a game.
That'd be insane. So Purity of Thought kind of always confused me, just the way that it's worded, but I believe it's only for his, say, Garion's discards, correct?
Correct. It is. It's only for your discards that occur, not your opponent's discards. So the reason Zach is bringing that up is, in this particular case, if your opponent discarded X amount of cards, Purity of Thought would not let you draw in replace of their discarded cards. Now, in this scenario where we brought up with the Leech, it's exactly what we're talking about, where he would lose those cards, which then, even if To Save the World was in play, you know, you would then lose those cards doubly.
Yeah, that's a brutal strategy right there.
Quite devastating in its own way. So as you can see, even an old school player like Garion just consistently bringing these different layers to decks, even though he's been out of the game for so long. And of course, you know, this is almost like a rain delay in baseball. We're just going to keep filling the time as we await for this judge ruling. Now, I know this did create a little bit of conflict in the tournament, as, you know, the idea that there are cards out there that have the same name but different words on them. When you are in this situation, please always understand that it is the latest version of the card that actually is the way that card will always be played.
Then all the other ones are errated to the latest version.
Correct. So I can imagine they're going to slowly start creeping in. As you can see, 10 minutes has already counted down from the clock. So as they come in, they have got their decision. They have got their ruling. Let's see if we were right. Does Justin draw a card or does he not? Again, I know the ruling, so he's definitely not going to be drawing a card unless a bad ruling was made, but I don't think he is. Now, let's return back to the match. Now we settled back in and we focus. Garion is starting to understand he is the one with initiative in this battle. First battle, as you know, Zach, is one of the most important battles, especially when someone like Garion is playing this +6. He knows he wants those first venture cards. When you were playing him in the first battle, you obviously had a tough one against him, but did you think right away, I have to win this first battle or else I'm in a really tough spot?
Yeah, because then I can keep initiative. And I was, like I said, playing Dracula with To the Last Man and just try to get rid of his teamworks or his Invisible Woman 9 or less, even the Morlocks remove.
Yeah, quite a lot of cards on his side. And actually, you saw in that one round where you did get it in play, it did actually quite affect him. And sadly, if you might have just had a few more bounce out there early in the game, it could have been different.
Yeah. I believe we are starting.
So as we start to creep away, I believe Garion has played a card. I'm unsure if he's played Caliban to go into his deck and go get an activator, but he is reshuffling his deck as we speak. So clearly he went through it for some mannerism.
Yeah, I don't think there would be any other card other than Caliban that would allow him to do that.
All right, and place back. And here we go. Now, Justin, of course, having initiative now, is he going to throw one of those teamworks? Is he going to hold it, try to keep the place advantage moving forward, and place something from his hand?
I do see a Sentinel in his hand.
So, of course, we have 2 venture here from Garion. So I guess he was just shuffling his deck. I guess he was not supposed to draw a card that he may have drew beginning of the round. So he may have actually drew 2 cards off of his event horizon, and that might have been the questioning that was actually going down, based probably, again, off the timing, off the event horizon he may be playing.
That's fair. And he put it back in the reshuffle. Okay, makes sense.
So he returned the card to his deck. That was the judge ruling. They're both venturing 2 this round, and it looks like the teamwork is the initial, coming right off the bat. He may attempt this 668.
Big KO.
Usually when the first one gets blocked, you're not going to just push everything out now. I'm assuming, there we go. So that's a 7 attack on Zorro. Justin deciding. Already using the big power card that was placed there. Now, of course, that Zorro 5 can also activate off one of those teamworks as well.
That is a nice perk with that Zorro card.
And a lot of people not remembering that as we're moving along. So always remember that Justin can throw one of those teamworks in that Zorro 5 as a follow-up to that teamwork. Very, very good card, both defensive, offensive, and utility.
Looks like Justin got the biggest master mold ever from a 10.
And that's exactly how you stop such a big card. Probably actually one of the few ways his deck could block it, minus other activators. So as you can see, they're both jockeying for these 2 ventures. They both know it means a lot. Now, Garion being up 6, but down a card, was there enough to make up the difference? My call is he's looking over at that Rogue 2 brute force and wanting to take it, which I'm assuming is coming off the back end of this teamwork as we speak for a 4.
And you could just take another teamwork and remove it with that Morlocks card too, which is...
And there's that 4. Now, Garion probably wanting to take this as he still holds advantage in terms of venture. Now, of course, Justin losing out on playing that 3rd teamwork because he had to use the power card for defense. Does he have another fuel in his hand? 1 card remaining. Garion's still holding his card as well, with a 5 and a remove on his side. Justin thinking now, should I just give up this 2 and move into the next round with a card advantage? Or should I keep playing more and potentially put more KO pressure but he could as well, not knowing what Garion's last card is. As you can see at home, and I'm sure you agree with this as well, Zach, holding a card in your hand means a lot.
No idea what that card is.
Offensively plays the remove, volleying the turn back to Justin. Justin, of course, having that playable teamwork right there with the Zorro card.
Looked like another power card in his hand also.
Potentially even having the fuel for the remaining one. Now, in this situation, it's always tough because you want to unload your hand first. However, you might want to keep the surprise that that last teamwork is actually playable. Now, Garion throwing in an avoid. Now, understanding he's looking at the 2 ventures, he's going to take this 5, and then he's going to return fire with his own 5 on Zorro. Now, Justin's last card in his hand is going to become important, and wow, Garion did not expect that. Not only did that become a kill shot teamwork, but that also took 2 points of venture and did not allow Garion to kill a character on his side. What do you think about that, Zach? Big advantage.
That was a big advantage for sure. Now Garion's down. He's still at +4 venture every hand. So, but losing Invisible Woman that early it's pretty bit devastating with a 9 and probably 2 more 9 or less is the 3s. It's quite a bit of cards to lose probably.
Quite a lot of cards, and of course, as you can see, Garion's deck really relying or pushing towards that +6 venture total that seems to just get him an advantage. Now, of course, only being +4, a lot less daunting, especially if discards are about to be played. No energy icons may be used to attack. This may be a moment where, depending on what he on 2 events on Garion's side, looks like he's playing no teamworks may be used this round. If Justin has the right frame of cards here and he sees a few on Garion's side here, if I were Garion, I would hold all my cards in my hand, even if they were energy icons, because Justin really could just push 5 here for the win.
Yeah. Holding them bluffing is a
big 8 intellect being placed. So already big venture points potential coming on Justin's side. Justin obviously teaming up for the
9.
Dual 8 stat. Big Invisible Woman 9 getting discarded. As you can see, that hidden teamwork seems to have changed this game real fast in the first battle.
Those sneaky teamworks.
I think Garion's starting to understand he's going to have to start placing some gas and pushing the game forward. Now, of course, as you just saw, not only is that double shot, but it has an energy icon on it, so that will not be coming across the board. Can be used for defense, though. And if he has the power card for it, could be used for either character holding the double shot or the defense.
Which is nice. That's very good. But now you see the leech.
What a great moment for that leech. Because Garion at this particular point could have held all energy icons in his hand and actually used the leech to remove most of Justin's hand, should Justin have kept a few cards. But it looks like Garion's hoping that he can stockpile enough just to push this maybe to one more round. But of course, he just placed a 7 on Zorro there. Combat, it looks like that's 15 points plus the 9 plus the other Zorro 7. Zach, give me a quick count up. How much venture is that total right there? In 4 cards,
it's like
he
31.
literally just placed 31 points of venture. Wow.
That is huge. And I'm not seeing much on Garion's side right now.
Not only are you not seeing much, but a lot of the attacks that you potentially think could even come from his side would potentially have energy icons. Luckily drawing, of course, that any power teamwork to start right there. If I were Garion, it's a tough place because you want to place cards hoping the game's going to continue, but you also realize the more you place, the more information you're giving him for that big final bet.
Very correct. And I believe that is a 1 intellect that he placed to the Morlocks, and then frictionless foam to Blue Beetle also.
Discard all placed universe cards, of course, working very well against the Spartan training ground, but maybe coming a little too late in this match. Looks like Justin's trying to control the board. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He's trying to read Garion's body language. As you can see, Garion not looking as relaxed as he was at the beginning of this match. Starting to realize pressure's mounting.
I believe I saw Stars and Garters in Justin's hand also. Is he holding 3 cards?
It looks like Justin is still holding 3 cards, as well as that 37 points of venture just sitting on the table there in front. Of course, not showing fuel for that teamwork, so maybe being the reason he will not push for the win. Now, with the war chest he seems to be getting, with the war chest is sorry, we're excited. We're seeing him grabbing we're seeing him grab his ventures. We're curious what he's gonna do. With a war chest like that, he might just try to slow push this game into the next few rounds and just slowly piece Garion off this game. But it looks like he's counting up the cards. He knows he has the gas. He knows Garion doesn't. That's a draw 3.
And he's going for it.
Garion is going to have to keep all of these cards as he has no other cards in hand. This is his only chance. And he discards 1 as an invisible woman, unusable because she is KO'd. Obligatory 2. And Zach, this looks like it's going to be a 2-round match.
Kind of looking that way right now, and I believe Garion pulled the Wahaha from Blue Beetle also. But that's 10's not going to be enough.
Well, with the 6-4 there, and of course Caliban reaching into AOA for maybe a Holocaust tuck, I just don't think there's enough juice that he's going to have, unless, of course, he would have had something like his morph, and he could have maybe just, again, tried to make that Wahaha times 2.
Another one.
Even with that, as we mentioned, 37 points of venture across the board, plus Stars and Garters, which Garion looks like he just power mimicked right now to create his own version, hopefully trying to find a way to stop either that 9, 7, 7, or 8.
One of those big cards.
And that's actually a unique play because a lot of people there, I think, may have played Frictionless Foam, trying to just get rid of that teamwork and have a volley action. Of course, Garion understanding he's got no defense and he needs something to be able to stop. Now that 7 intellect, if it does hit from Zoro, it does allow him to move any unventured mission to the completed. Now, quite a unique, amazing, very powerful 7 if you can keep that near the end of the round. Looks like just a little tiny power card. No.
I believe that's the Zoro 7.
That's the Zoro 7 throne. It has been taken. Caliban's been played. It has been allowed. He is searching through his draw pile now for an activator of his choice. Again, I can think maybe the Holocaust. I could think maybe the 210 if he's playing that with Shadowcat, trying to just reach for venture, trying to ask his deck to come up with a miracle in this moment.
If I was Justin also, I would be spreading out my hits just in case for that Holocaust tuck.
Very smart, Zach. Of course, knowing the Holocaust tuck could potentially be played against you, spreading your hits out on characters would just be such a smart strategic moment right now, Zach. Very good point. It's probably just explaining the Zoro 7 doesn't really do much in this particular scenario because he's ventured for the win. There's no venture he can actually move if that 7 is successful, so it is just a 7 intelligence in this instance. Garion trying to decide, starting to count the venture. I think he's starting to see the writing on the wall. He's looking for something. He's trying to figure it out. I think he's realizing if just that card hits alone, he's not going to have enough venture to go back the other way.
That's correct. I just don't see a way
I think we're moments away from a handshake here, friends. But knowing Garion, he's going to try to let Justin play himself out of this game. He's going to try and let Justin make a mistake. Frictionless foam getting 4 universe cards and a -3. Of course, probably not affecting this round, as I think that teamwork was unplayable anyways.
Yeah, looking at what I can see from Justin's hand, I don't think he had a power card to fuel that teamwork. So
of course, here we go. 8 intelligence coming across the board. Justin doing exactly what Zack mentioned, spreading the hits, knowing what could potentially come from the other battle site, knowing that at this point in time, you can tuck an 8, a 7, or a 7, but I'm keeping 14 to 15 points. It looks like he's playing the Leech by itself. Now, what this does is if Justin cannot negate it, he must discard 1 placed card. Justin only has 1 placed card, so that actually actively just got that 9 off the board. Yeah. Of course, Frictionless Foam being really huge to that because he would have been able to take one of those Spartan cards off.
That's
had
correct.
That not have been played previous.
And I feel like that's why Garion played Frictionless Foam first, is to get rid of all those placing cards.
Looks like we have a Jubilee coming out. I believe that's probably a 7 any power. Wow. I mean, Justin is just throwing 7s and 8s and 9s.
Just high hitting cards.
Sadly, +4 is just not enough to outweigh this type of onslaught coming from Justin's deck.
Plus whatever Garion throws, he's got the Stars and Garters for, so.
Now, of course, Garion having his own version of Stars and Garters, but seems to be holding it now, not grasping that he probably should use that in this moment with Justin only holding 1 or 2 cards remaining and nothing else placed.
Curious why Justin threw it onto Morlocks instead of Longshot or Blue Beetle to get rid of the Inherent.
Quite interesting, actually, that you say that, because the 2 would have actually been affected in this particular scenario, and I think everybody knows Garion has to take this 7 one way or another.
And there's the tuck.
So as we were mentioning, Justin was aware of it, but he had to play cards in certain ways. Now, of course, had Justin played that on one of the other characters, he still would have got the tuck, but they would have not had that +2 in this moment. So now Garion somehow having to come away from 15 venture. He has 7 himself right now between his characters and the Frictionless Foam. So he really only needs to make up 8 venture at this moment. However, with Stars and Garters sitting right there and 1 card, I don't see how this is going to happen unless it's fuel for that teamwork. And I can only assume we're at a moment away.
There's the Bwahaha.
And there's the Bwahaha looking long shot with the avoid.
And
and there's nothing else that can be done. There's no way Garion can create 8 venture. Handshake shall happen. Looks like the 2 of them are playing it out very well and chatting out their final thoughts of the game. Looks like with the event and with the power that Justin had in that hand, I don't see how Garion was able to figure this out.
Yeah, Justin just had so much gas in that second hand. It was, what would we say, 31 points of venture. That's, and the event, he had everything going for him that second hand.
And as you can see, friends, as we wrap this up, when you have your moment, Justin thought about it, took it, and succeeded. Those are the times where your tournament is on the line, and guess what? You see your moment. That's what you built your deck for. You got to push it. Well, thanks again for joining us here at PeaceBridge 2025. This was my special co-host, Zack, on as we speak now. Thank you again, Zack. Any final thoughts?
Just a great match, great show up for PeaceBridge. It was a great time. We had so much fun, and yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks again, and you may get to hear Zack one more time later on. Have a great day.